Hello, my name is Nick Bean, and I'm an estimator for Colantonio. I just want to start by saying that we are excited to be working with Brookline Housing Authority, Hill International, and Baker Wall Architects on the Arthur O'Shea House renovation project. The intent of this video is to provide a detailed walkthrough of our construction approach and give a little bit of guidance to subcontractors that may have specific concerns or questions during the bidding process. We have given a lot of attention to the logistical and phasing challenges associated with this project. I hope that this video will aid in your understanding of these challenges and our approach to overcome them during construction. To begin this walkthrough, I will go over some project basics and general information. I will then cover the site before moving on to the interior of the building. There I will take you through our approach to the residential units, and then more specifically, the phasing of HVAC work. I'll then move on to our sequencing of common area renovations before tying everything up with an overview of our schedule. And then finally, a quick closing. The project site is located at 61 Park Street in Brookline. This property is owned by Brookline Housing Authority. The building has 10 full floors plus a partial basement. This partial basement contains only mechanical space. Levels 2 through 10 consist of 11 residential units per floor, totaling 99 units. The 100th unit is located on level 1, along with common area spaces, kitchen, laundry, offices, and some additional mechanical space. This project will renovate all 100 units and common areas to provide improved accessibility, functionality, and building efficiency. Of course, the major challenge to all of this work is that the building will be occupied during construction. There will only be 12 units vacated at a time for renovations. To get an understanding of the project location, here is a Google Maps view of the surrounding areas. The main roads utilized to access the project site will be Beacon Street to the north and west, Harvard Street to the east, and Route 9 to the south, which is just beyond the bottom of this image. Getting a closer view at the site and surrounding areas, the main access to the site will be via Park Street on the west side of the building. The parking lot that you see to the east side of the building is a part of the property at 61 Park Street. The parking spaces are to remain open to residents throughout the duration of the project. The parking lot will be off limits for construction use. It is important to note that Auburn Street is a one-way, and residents will be entering and exiting the parking lot off of this road. Resident access is to remain uninterrupted. There will be no available parking for subcontractors within the project site. Public parking is available on the west side of Park Street. However, spaces are limited along Park Street and many of the surrounding streets. For example, parking on the right side of Auburn Street is not allowed Monday through Friday between the hours of 7 and 9 a.m. and 4 and 6 p.m. As such, it would be advantageous to try and limit construction vehicles to as few as possible. Moving into the project site, we will be utilizing the area south of the building for construction staging. This will require the relocation of existing benches and installation of a temporary walkway along the north side of the building. This walkway allows residents continued access to the rear parking lot via Park Street. We will then create a temporary curb cut on Park Street and a temporary paved access road through the project site. We will establish the construction fence, set up our field offices, dumpsters, and if possible, a few storage trailers. Though we may find space for storage trailers on site, for bidding purposes, subcontractors should assume that there will be no on-site storage available. The temporary access road allows deliveries to enter directly into the project site from Park Street and unload adjacent to the building. Then they will proceed to exit the project site through the parking lot and onto Auburn Street. This will minimize interruption of traffic on Park and Auburn Streets and also limit interference with residents in the parking lot. The main access points into the building for deliveries and manpower will be the two entrances shown here. These entrances provide immediate access to the primary stair and elevators used throughout construction. Due to the restrictions of this site, subcontractors are to schedule all deliveries in advance with Colantonio's superintendent. To facilitate construction with the 12 vacant units available, we have divided the residential work on each floor into 3 vertical stacks. This floor plan shown here is typical of levels 2 through 10. Stack 1 consists of 4 units on each floor. These are units A, B, C, and D. Stack 2 also consists of 4 units per floor. They are units G, H, J, and K. Lastly, Stack 3 consists of just 3 units per floor, units E, F, and L. At each floor, the work areas between stacks will be separated using existing and temporary partitions with openings. All tools and materials should be contained within work areas and are not to be left in areas occupied by residents. During work within stacks 1 and 3, stair 1 will be the primary access point for manpower and hand-carried tools or materials. Stair 2 will remain open to residents during work in stacks 1 and 3. During work within stack 2, stair 2 will be the primary access point. Stair 1 is to remain open to residents during work in stack 2. It is important to remember that both stairs are to remain open for emergency egress throughout the project duration. For larger materials, elevator 2 will be available for construction use throughout the project. Subcontractors needing full use of the elevator for deliveries are to reserve time in advance with Colantonio's superintendent. Materials delivered via elevator should proceed off of the elevator and immediately into the work areas. The use of elevator 1 is strictly prohibited and is to remain open to residents throughout the project duration. Before continuing on with the phasing, one point to make here is that all gypboard will be removed from the existing walls within the units, as seen in these pictures. Units are going to be completely exposed after completion of the demo and abatement. Subcontractors should expect free and clear access within interior walls of the units to perform their work. Additionally, all popcorn ceilings in the units and corridors will be scraped and abated. Any hanger installation or other work requiring drilling into ceilings should not need to be done in containment. Looking now at the building section, you can get a better understanding for how work will progress throughout the building. Work will begin in stack 1 on the upper levels and will continue down through level 1. We will continue with stack 2, again beginning with the upper levels and working top to bottom. Finally, stack 3, working down through substantial completion. To fully understand this progression, let's take a closer look at stack 1. Here's stack 1, levels 10 through 5. Note that as previously stated, there are 4 units within each level of stack 1. These 12 vacant units will allow construction to occur simultaneously on 3 floors at a time. We are calling this first group of units Phase 1. Since there are only 12 vacant units, we must now turn over completed units before additional units can become available for construction. So, as the units on level 10 become completed, residents will move back into those units. Residents on level 7 will then be relocated to make those units available for renovations. As level 9 units are completed, residents will occupy those units. This allows level 6 to become available. Finally, level 8 units are completed and occupied, allowing level 5 units to become available. This next group of units will now become Phase 2. Keeping the stagger between floors allows for more continuous flow of work and will continue throughout the completion of each stack. Back now to the full building elevation, you can see the progression through the entirety of stack 1. As we get to Phase 3, we encounter the lone unit on level 1. We will grab that unit at the end of Phase 3 before continuing on to stack 2. Stack 2 will begin with Phase 4 and continues in the same manner as stack 1, working through phases 4, 5, and 6. In stack 3, now with 3 units per floor, Phase 7 is able to occupy 4 levels at a time. Phase 8 will then occupy the remaining units, taking us through substantial completion. Leapfrogging floors allows for there to always be vacant units beneath ongoing construction activities in the level above. This facilitates through-floor penetrations for riser piping and associated work between floors. This becomes an important factor in the ability to complete the necessary HVAC work. As I just alluded to, one of the main reasons for phasing the building as we have shown is to facilitate the installation of new HVAC riser piping for the rooftop air-cooled condensing units. These condensing units must have at least 50% of the overall capacity available in order for the equipment to be operational as designed. Looking again at Stack 1, you can see all 4 units on each floor within the stack, units A, B, C, and D. The pairs of units on each side of the hallway will share riser shafts in the existing chase between the bathrooms. We know that there will be 3 main phases to complete these units in Stack 1. For us to turn over units for occupancy in Phase 1, there must be operational heating and cooling on level 10 prior to being able to complete the system entirely. To achieve 50% capacity for the condensing units in Phase 1, we will be valving 1 riser on each side of the hallway. This allows for startup of the condensing units that service units on levels 10, 9, and 8. Once work begins on level 7 in Phase 2, the riser piping is able to be extended through those units without interrupting the system operations on the floor above. Now, the other 2 rooftop units will be at 50% capacity to allow their operation. Again, this riser will need to be valved in order to facilitate startup. Phase 3 then begins on level 4, and the riser piping is able to be extended to the remaining units. There will then be a short shutdown required to recalibrate or pressurize the risers to the full system capacity. This shutdown will be coordinated in the field with Brookline Housing Authority and Colantonio's superintendent. Another component to this work is the condensate drain. The condensate drain is designed to be gravity fed all the way to level 1. However, because we will be making the system operational in a temporary state, the HVAC subcontractor will be responsible for temporarily collecting or diverting the condensate at level 8. When level 7 becomes available, the condensate drain can then be extended and temporarily collected or diverted again on level 7. This process will continue until the full condensate drain stack can be installed. These same concepts for piping will apply through Stack 2, as well as Stack 3. Moving on now to the first floor and the common area work of this project. The residential unit on this floor will occur in sequence with the other residential units as previously described. Work within the trash room has also been completed as part of an early bid package. The remaining work on this floor will happen alongside the work in the units in various phases throughout construction. Work in the mechanical spaces, as well as the multi-purpose space highlighted in green, will take place during the early phases of construction. Shortly thereafter, work will proceed in the kitchen and storage area adjacent to the multi-purpose room. These spaces would then be available for resident use upon completion. With these areas now in service for residents, we can then begin working through the community spaces, music room, and spring well. Once these areas are completed, the residents will then have the ability to occupy all of these functional areas for the remainder of construction. Work on the main entrance, lobby, maintenance room, and laundry room would then begin. While the main entrance to the building is closed for construction, residents will be able to access the building via the side entrance to the north or through the rear into the newly renovated spaces. Lastly, the work in the corridors, public restrooms, and the south entrance would take place at the very end of the project. This work will correspond with the demobilization of the temporary access road and construction staging area at the south side of the building. This table should provide a clearer understanding of how the residential work and common area work will occur simultaneously. You can see each phase of construction and the different areas of work in each phase. The overall project duration is 16.5 months. However, our goal is to work with the awarded trade and non-trade subcontractors to improve upon this duration by developing the most efficient phasing and sequencing possible. This will not only benefit construction, but Brookline Housing Authority and the residents of O'Shea House. Please note, the phasing plan shown in this video can be found in the project bid documents under the General section. They are sheets ST 0.01 through ST 0.04. Again, The phasing concepts shown in this video and on the plans should be thought of as preliminary and for bidding purposes only. As I previously mentioned, final phasing and logistics concepts will be refined in conjunction with the awarded trade and non-trade subcontractors. Subcontractors will be responsible for all costs associated with their means and methods required to execute this phasing as shown, and any possible methods by which to improve upon the described plans. Lastly, and most importantly, subcontractors, all on-site workforce, and anyone coming onto the project site should be respectful of residents at all times. This is their home, and we should always be mindful of that. Treat them the same as you would expect someone working around your own home. That concludes this virtual walkthrough. I hope that you have found this video helpful, and we look forward to having a successful project. Thank you.